Hello, kiddies. I am Mike Diamond.
And this is Ms. Matinga.
You are watching Homework because you want your education. It's a viewer question. Why do some gay guys only have sex with, quote-unquote, straight men? Why ask why? Just suck that dick.
Exactly. Listen. Any hot dick that comes my way, you want me to blow it? I will. But the thing is, though, I'm not on the search for straight men. Now, I had a friend, he shall remain nameless, Charlie. And many, many years ago, we got into a horrible fight when I called him a faggot. And he said, I'm not a faggot. And I was like...
Was it in Spanish?
It was in Spanish.
Let me hear it in Spanish.
I called him a
Mira, Charlie.
I called him a maricón. Mira, Charlie. And he was like, yo no soy maricón.
Oh, no.
And I was like, how is that? And he was like, because I only sleep with straight men. And I was like...
Right. That's what he was doing with them.
Exactly. And, and first of all, he never slept with nobody because he was having most of his sex in public parks.
Right.
But
wiping himself off with an oak leaf when he's done.
Right. In Spanish culture, there's something called machismo.
See?
And so you might have a little bit of doubt. And maybe if you can convince yourself that if you sleep with only straight men, that somehow that's more masculine, or maybe how straight men sometimes will sleep with a chick with a dick because somehow they're able to... No, listen.
A chick with a dick.
A chick with a dick, a trans.
Yes.
Or maybe just, some queen who wanted titties and a dick. That happens too, and you're not necessarily trans.
So sometimes a guy would sleep with a trans person.
And what'll happen is they can reconcile it that they're sleeping with a woman, even though there is a penis there. And I just sort of think it's a way of them not to fully engage.
They're disassociating.
Right, fully engage with the notion that they're having sex with a member.
Or maybe they're just like into trans
sex.
Girls.
No, but there are some straight men that specifically will sleep with a drag queen or a trans with a penis that still has the penis, because the penis is part of it. And so coming back to my friend Charlie, I think that's part of it. I think sometimes you can't reconcile your own internalized homophobia. And so, they want to sleep with straight men. I think sometimes maybe there might be a little bit of, oh, that straight guy is hot. Let me turn him to the dark side. Let me conquer that.
But also because, there are gay men who imprint early, oh, jocks are hot, or that guy that was mean to me in school is hot, or those straight guys that I could never have, wow, that's hot. So that becomes their fantasy of like having the straight man, because that's what imprinted on them. Whatever turned you on when you were young tends to sort of stay with you. So that's why they're like, I'm going to sleep with the guy from the rugby team, or I'm going to seduce the phone company guy, or whatever it is.
Yeah, but part of, there's a little bit of self-hate in that notion. I've never set out to seduce a straight guy. Have I had sex with some guys?
Because if they're straight, you can't seduce them.
Right.
That would be like if some girl tried to seduce me. Oh, bitch, it's not happening.
Well, and the thing is like you might have sex with some guy who self-identifies as straight, but ultimately, if they're having sex with you, then at the very, 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 very least, they must be bi, if not just closeted. And so, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of self-hate. If you want to, if you're into that jock butch thing, there's jock butch in the gay community.
But I don't sleep with lesbians.
Trust.
Listen, I prefer sleeping with straight men myself, because when you sleep with a faggot, they're on to me. They know what I'm doing. They're onto my shtick. They got my act. They want to make eye contact sometimes. I'm not into that. Give me a straight man anytime who's going to do his nasty business on me, kick me out of a moving car, and I can go home and watch Golden Girls.
It's gonna be like, then open up that car door and push you right out onto the west side. You go on home
to your wife,
highway.
Patty or Penny or whatever her name is. Right. Say hi to your kids. That's okay.
And that's okay, actually. If you want to trick with quote-unquote straight men, but I don't. But if you want to, that's okay. And ultimately, if you only trick with straight men, then you gotta, honey, take some stock and realize that, there's something off there.
No, not necessarily. People like what they like. People like what they like. And then there are those guys that are like, well, if I don't bottom, if I only top, then, I'm not gay. I fuck them. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? There's a whole lot of what role you play.
In the down low sort of community.
The down low, that's the ethnic communities term for it.
If you only top.
Ethnics.
Right. But listen, in the gay experience, You should be so proud of who you are and what you are. It's fabulous.
You're very about like rah pride, self-respect.
Okay,
Self-respect has no place in the bedroom. I'm sorry.
In the sexual arena.
It doesn't.
Coming back to my friend Charlie, we got into a fight, and he's like, I called him a faggot. And he said, I'm not a faggot because I only sleep with straight men. And I was like, excuse me, then what am I? And he was like, you and your friends, you're faggots. I was like, and I was like, I'm a faggot, but you're not, hunty.
And where's Miss Charlie now? Living in some halfway house in Puerto Rico. Oh, I shouldn't step like that. I like Miss Charlie.
No, I loved Miss Charlie.
And what was Charlie's original nickname?
Cousin It.
What about all those tea room queens? And this goes back 30s, the 40s, the 20s, the 50s. Tea room queens who would be like in Grand Central or Bloomingdale's or whatever, sucking off some straight guy who's on his way home from work. I mean, that was a huge thing. And those men, they considered themselves straight. It wasn't like this like binary, you're gay or you're straight. It was, there was a little wiggle room. And that's what they used to call it, the wiggle room.
But those men who were getting blown, it wasn't just a handy mouth, because they were going to those places to have that type of sex. So, sure, it was nameless, it was faceless, but you still knew that on the other side of that little glory hole, there was a dude sucking your dick. And so somewhere deep inside, it was giving them something. I don't know. There's something to it's very,
is it like
very about that.
Is it a fear of intimacy? Because you know that if your partner identifies as straight, there's going to be a remove. How far can you really go with them? It's if you're a gay guy with another gay guy, there's potentially, more in the offing there. You could go on a date or whatever. I mean, it doesn't happen to me, but
I also think there's a little wiggle room in there, whereas I have heard from my friends in the drag community, not the trans community, but the drag community, that you can blow some straight dude at the, at some big event, like some big mixed event at a club, because
like in a bathroom stall with your boots hanging out the bottom,
with your little high heels coming out from,
and then you stumble out and your wig all cockeyed and your lipstick like this.
Exactly.
Bitches laughing. You like, whatever. I just sucked some nice fat dick from Jersey.
That's right, and it tasted like chicken soup.
I've heard.
I've
heard.
And I think that you throw alcohol into the mix, and sometimes inhibitions can become so low that stuff happens. So there's a little wiggle room
inhibitions
there.
and standards.
Exactly.
So why do some gay men sleep with straight guys? Who knows?
Who knows? Who cares? Whatever floats your boat. If it feels good, do it.
Whatever blows your calling out, honey.
Exactly. Just don't feel any shame about being a homo. That's what Miss Matinga has to say.
Right.
And if you're only having sex with straight men, guess what? You're still a big faggot.
Yeah, and so are they.
This is Miss Matinga.
And this is really super post-gay Mike Diamond. You've been learned.